Super privileged today to have you back here, but absolutely amazed at what you've achieved over the last month. So fantastic, guys. Before we meet all our wonderful riders, I'd like to acknowledge a few special guests that we've got this afternoon. Firstly, the chairman of the Stephen Walter Children's Cancer Foundation Board, Dr. Joe Collins. Joe will be speaking shortly. And also co-founder and chief executive officer of the Stephen Walter Children's Cancer Foundation, Susan Walter. And I'd like to actually just invite Elle to come forward. Elle from Hyundai. And she tells me that Sue's just gone to the bathroom, so we'll put that on hold for one moment. We'd also like to thank and welcome our platinum sponsor of the Stephen Walter Children's Cancer Foundation and the major sponsor of the 2018 Around Australia Ride, Hyundai, Help for Kids, and Hyundai Motor Company and their representatives. Bill Thomas, thanks for coming along today. We'll hear from Bill shortly. Bill's the General Manager of External Affairs and CSR, which is Corporate Social Responsibility Committee member for Hyundai Help for Kids. And also Elle, that you almost met a moment ago, but we'll meet very soon as Sue makes an appearance back. Elle Ibrahim, Public Relations and CSR Specialist, also from Hyundai Help for Kids. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for your support. And to our generous host for today's Welcome Home event, Tynan Hyundai. Madeline Tynan, Marketing Director and Dealer Principal of Tynan Motors. Nicholas Tynan and the whole Tynan Hyundai team. Thank you, and thanks for hosting us here today. Really appreciate it. A warm welcome to our very special guest from the Kids Cancer Centre at Sydney Children's Hospital. We've got Associate Professor David Ziegler, Senior Staff Specialist and Head of the Clinical Trials Program at the hospital, and also Donna Drew, who is a Clinical Nurse Consultant, Paediatric Oncology and Palliative Care. So welcome to you guys. And to the representatives from the Sydney Children's Hospital Foundation, board member Jane Freudenstein and the crew from the Gold Appeal Mobile. We all saw the Gold Appeal Mobile outside. They've been visiting regional areas, and I think you guys all saw them as you headed off from Tamworth 34 days ago. Absolutely amazing to think that that time has gone. I was just saying to somebody a moment ago that the time seems to have gone so quick, but for you guys it's probably massage table. So feel free, while we're speaking and while the presentations are going on, someone else has just got off the massage table, feel free to use it. Welcome to some very special guests also. We've got Jade, who's come along to do the presentation for us this afternoon, and her family. So welcome, Jade. Thanks for coming along. I bet you're glad to get out of school. But thanks for being here. You've got a very important role later on this afternoon. And last but not least, everybody, please join me in welcoming home our riders. The pillions and support crew have just finished the 2018 Around Australia Ride. To get things underway, I'd like to invite Dr. Joe Collins. Actually, I've just noticed Sue's come back, so give me a moment, if you will, please, Joe. And I'd like to invite Elle forward and Sue forward. Susan Walter, co-founder and Chief Executive Officer of the Stephen Walter Children's Cancer Foundation. Elle's got a little presentation to Sue. And Sue, less than 24 hours ago, became a grandmother for the first time. And I became an uncle again.
You did.
Okay? Charlotte Stevie, born at 6:13 a.m. New York time on the 12th. Congratulations, sir. I'd now like to invite Joe Collins to come forward and say a few words. Please welcome Joe.
Hi everybody. When Sue was organising this, first came up with the idea of doing it again, she needed to fit it around the birth of her grandchild and almost did it. So almost good planning, Sue, but I can assure you Sue's going to very much enjoy hopping on a plane on the 25th and going over to New York to see her new grandchild. Now, it's worth sort of mentioning at the opening here today that got a lot of people to thank. And I don't want to miss anyone, and there's a lot of people speaking, but I do want to especially thank Hyundai for the support they've given us over many years, Tynan Motors today for hosting this, the arrival of the team back today, the riders back today, putting on lunch and things like that, fabulous. Our partners at the hospital, the doctors, nurses, and all the people that help us there. We can't, as a foundation, we can't do what we do without the help of lots and lots of people. And what's evident, again, as I look around the room, you've all become family. I've got about a dozen plus new family members who have all, in one way or the other, joined our family because of this ride. We've got family who are here, and we've got friends who have become family over the last 18 years. So to the Stephen Waller Foundation, Children's Cancer Foundation family, thank you for everything that you all do in your individual ways to achieve what Stephen asked us to do, which was to undertake some childhood cancer research so that no other child went through what Stephen went through. And I think you've made a big leap forward in that regard today, and we'll be using the money very wisely. What is mentioned when you read the press release is that we've raised $7.5, $8 million or thereabouts in the time that we've been set up as a foundation, which is great. What it doesn't talk about is the other almost $40 million that we've enabled the doctors and researchers to get through grants. And we've been very strategic in the way and what we've funded and the way we funded it, and that's important. It's not, when you guys go to the effort that you do to raise money and work with us, it's our job to make sure that we do a good job and invest it into areas of research that allows future research to develop from it, and that's what we've been able to do. So thank you. Thank you to that lovely little girl there for being here today, and Jade and all the other guests today. Barry, back to you, and thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Joe. And I omitted to welcome both the Seaton and the Gallard family, so my apologies for that, guys, but you're most welcome. I hope you enjoy the afternoon here with us, and thanks for coming along. Really appreciate it. I'd now like to welcome Bill Thomas, who's the General Manager External Affairs at Hyundai Motor Company, to tell us a little bit about how Hyundai dealers across the country are contributing to helping Australian kids and families through the Hyundai Help for Kids program. Please welcome Bill.
Thanks very much. I'd like to add to Joe's thanks to everyone from the foundation, from Tynan's, and of course the riders. Fantastic job. And as a corporate bloke with a suit on, it's quite humbling to come here and see all you guys arrive after such an amazing journey. It's a humbling experience, and we thank you very much. Yeah, Hyundai Help for Kids, we partner with 23 partners across the country helping Australia's youth. The idea is that it's funded in a special way where half of the funding comes from Hyundai itself and half of the funding from the dealer network. And it's a common misconception that Hyundai dealers are owned by Hyundai. It's not the case. They're run by lots of different individual companies and groups. So some money gets, 50% gets contributed by the dealer network and 50% by Hyundai. So a big thank you to the entire dealer network for all of the funding that they give and all the support. We're always amazed by how much fantastic volunteering goes on through the dealer network, and especially to Tynan's here for hosting us today. Just a very quick, boring story from me about bikes. Many years ago, I was working as a journalist in London, and I met an ambulance paramedic, a bike paramedic in London. He was a brilliant guy. He was up against huge bureaucracy because there was this push against ambulance bike paramedics. For some reason in London, they thought that bikes were too dangerous to be paramedics, and there was this big sort of anti-bike feeling against this guy. But he'd taken it upon himself to use his own time, his own personal time, to fight against the bureaucracy to make all this happen with with bike paramedics in London. And I remember thinking, I had to write a story about this guy, and I remember thinking, wow, he's a real hero. You know, he's a genuine, proper hero. To devote so much energy and so much time to a cause that he believed in. And the reason I mention it is because today I think I've seen 17 heroes all on those bikes today, and I didn't think I'd ever see that. So congratulations most of all to the riders for the record. And I think I'm handing over to Madeline now. Madeline saying a few words. Thanks, Madeline. Thanks again, guys. Cheers.
I'm a little shorty, so I just wanted to congratulate everyone that's in the ride and particularly thank Hyundai for investing in something like this. Everyone forgets the fight for cancer starts with little E's as well too. I mean, we lost our father 2 years ago to cancer, and I could only but imagine, as being a mother and a grandmother, having a little one that has had cancer, and raising money for this is just absolutely unbelievable. And I congratulate you for giving up your time for a start, and also to Hyundai, because unless they invested in things like this, it would never happen. Congratulations, everyone.
Thanks to Bill and thanks to Madeline. We're also very lucky today to have a very special guest, and that's Associate Professor David Ziegler from the Kids Cancer Centre at Sydney Children's Hospital. David's a long-time friend of the Foundation, and join me in welcoming David.
Thank you, and thank you for asking me to be here, and thank you all for what you're doing. And I guess I won't talk for long, but my message really, when we think about children with cancer, I guess people think about sick children, children who are in hospital and not well, but actually children who get cancer are normal, healthy, happy children. And every year we see 150 children with cancer, and in the next 12 months we will see 150 children who today are running around and happy and playing and at school, and something will happen. They'll get a fever, someone will feel a lump, they won't be well, and they'll end up seeing us, and it'll be someone's child or someone's niece or nephew, a whole community will be disrupted. But for most of those kids, we'll be able to give them good news that we will be able to cure them. And 50 years ago, none of these children were able to be cured, and there's only one reason that we're now able to say we're able to cure the majority of these kids, and it's actually because of people like you and parents of kids who said this is not good enough. We need to, be able to do something for these kids, and started raising money and started funding the research and started helping us do clinical trials. And year by year, we've seen the cure rates go up and up and up. And so for the majority of those kids who are going to walk through our doors in the next year, we're going to have good news. But still for some, we won't. And so that's why we still need your help, and that's why we thank you so much, and that's why together we know that we can continue to do better, and we'll continue to aim towards 100% cure rate. So thank you very much for everything you're doing, and let's keep going.
Thank you, David. It's wonderful to have that little insight, albeit brief, but very pertinent to where we're at today. Thank you very much. I just noticed, guys, that the massage table's free again. Don't be frightened. You can hear everything that's going on from the massage table, so feel free to jump on over. It's there to be used. Not you, Joe. I'd like to now welcome somebody else who's quite familiar with supporting life-saving work, and that's Jane Freudenstein from the Sydney Children's Hospital Foundation. No doubt you've had a very busy weekend, Jane. Gold Telethon. You guys would have all missed that, but maybe you picked it up somewhere along the road, but the Gold Telethon was on over the weekend. Please join me in welcoming Jane.
Thank you, Barry. Good morning, everyone, and I am so thrilled to be here. It really is a privilege. I think I'd just like to echo the sentiments of everyone who's spoken before me. I feel thrilled to be able to welcome all the riders as they finish their amazing journey, and thank you for the incredible support that you give the Kids Cancer Centre. Our Chief Executive Officer, Nicola Stokes, was unable to be present, so she asked me to convey her best wishes and congratulations to everyone involved, especially the riders. I wanted to specifically acknowledge Sue and Joe, Barry, Donna, Kylie,
the Around Australia riders, your families and crew, because obviously, it's a team effort, Bill and all of the team, and Elle at Hyundai, and Tynan Hyundai and Hyundai Help for Kids. As David's mentioned, the Kids Cancer Centre's vision is to reach 100% cure rate for childhood cancer. And you've been alongside them every step of the way of that journey to ensure that they lead the field in oncology research and care. And as David said, there's been significant improvement in the life expectancy of children post-diagnosis, and the future continues to look brighter thanks to cutting-edge research and groundbreaking clinical trials. But there's still more to be done, and your support is essential to ensure we are continually moving forward towards reaching that goal of 100% survival for all children. I want to also acknowledge that I know your generosity goes beyond our own hospital, and that together, and that's the key word that's come up a couple of times, that together you've helped to bring to life some visionary collaborative research projects that will push the boundaries and help us find these new diagnoses, treatments and cures for childhood cancer and leukaemia. Your support of Professor Marshall's work in particular has helped to change the future for every child diagnosed with cancer, giving them hope where previously there may have been little or none. And there's that word together. The Foundation and Hyundai make a powerful team, and through your tireless efforts, you've raised millions of dollars to fight childhood cancer and to fulfil Stephen's wish that one day no other child will have to go through what he did. So on behalf of the Sydney Children's Hospital Foundation, the Sydney Children's Hospital Randwick, the Kids Cancer Centre and the many children and families whose lives you have touched, it's a deep and heartfelt thank you from me and from all of the partners involved. I'd like to now present a special gift to the Stephen Walter Children's Cancer Foundation to mark your commitment to our hospital and to the Kids Cancer Centre and your incredible generosity in raising more than $2 million to date. So this is actually, Sue, if you would join me, an artwork called Colour Explosion that was created by patients at the Sydney Children's Hospital Randwick as part of the Foundation's art program and the Art X workshops in the school at the hospital. As you can see, it's full of colour and optimism and reflects the hope that you've given to so many families through your generous support. There we go. That's for you. I'd also like to acknowledge Hyundai's support of our Gold Appeal Mobile, which is here today, as you've seen, and has been touring New South Wales during the Gold Appeal to raise awareness of the ongoing need for community support. You've really made it possible for us to go on the road. And finally, can I also congratulate a group who've also been on the road for some time now. I'm talking about you magnificent Around Australia riders who set off on the 11th of May. I cannot imagine how physically challenging that must be, but also to set yourself a challenging goal of raising $100,000 for vital research and clinical trials is just an extraordinary gift, and we thank you, and the children and children's health in the future, they thank you too. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane, and thank you to your wonderful team for joining us here today as well. Now we've arrived at the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time for the official welcome home for this magnificent bunch of riders, the support crew of the Around Australia ride. Paul and Di Riley have done a brilliant job leading the ride and driving one of the Hyundai support vehicles. So I'd like to actually thank you, Paul and Di. I'd like to invite Paul, along with a very special helper, Jade, to come forward. Paul's going to say a few words and he's going to introduce to us each of the riders, and Jade's going to present the riders with their medallions and a small gift also from the Sydney Children's Hospital Foundation. So thank you again for that. So please welcome Paul and Jade. Well,
thank you. Quite an honour to be able to sum up, in some part, the last 34 days. And it's from our perspective, I think it's lovely that so many people have come to speak and be with us today, so thank you. Or I'm not going to do all the thank yous again. It'll use up all of my time. Only a rider, a motorcycle rider, knows why a dog sticks his head out the window. And all of our riders now know well and truly why that dog sticks its head out the window. The experience has been incredible. We've been really fortunate. We were in the Hyundai car the whole time, and I've got to say, and Bill, I'm talking to you later on about Hyundai. It's a fantastic car. It truly is. Everybody at some stage was getting quite cold when we got back down south, and they were all talking about how they had to have their heated grips on and they were still cold, and they had layer upon layer. And I said, oh yeah, Di had to actually turn the heated seat down at one stage today. I don't think they appreciated that too much. I asked a lot of the riders what their highlights were for a trip like this, and it was quite interesting. One was being at the Pinnacles, because it was just such a peaceful place, apart from the thousands of tourists. But it was a really peaceful place, and it was such an incredible thing to see. Most hinted at the serenity of remoteness and how incredible a feeling it is just to be with a group, but you're on your own because you're inside your helmet, and just that peace for so long. All broken last week, a few days ago, when we travelled on the Great Ocean Road with 1 million of our closest friends. The peace and beauty of Broome came up quite often. Most of us seem to like Broome as the spot, the greatest town that we stopped at. Swimming in Catherine Gorge, there are innumerable highlights, but everybody mentioned and everybody demonstrated, even if they didn't say it, how much they enjoyed helping other people. And it was the generosity of other people, and we saw that so often. We saw people just come up and say they'd had experience, and with cancer, here's some money, and that was all they could do. Sorry. We've had so many stories from people along the way. It's been incredible, and watching these guys not harass people for money, but extract money from people for nobody had to be held on the ground and molested, but a lot of people were. Every time we stopped, people would share the story, and it was just so nice. It came naturally. People were glad to hear it, and people were very generous. And I'm looking forward to hearing how much it actually was and that we had to contribute, because if you made a mistake and it became public, it cost you money. And we all made lots of mistakes over the 33 days. To have done a lap, enjoyed the friendship of this group, improved the image of motorcyclists, and raised money doing something that Stephen loved, has been fabulous. Thank you. Now, thank you. I've just got a couple of lines to say about each rider as they come up, so we'll get you to introduce, or you can hand them their medal. Paul, you're first. Paul helped to pave the way each day and ensured we didn't miss any of the highlights. Paul was off fairly early most days on the ride. Fabulous guy to have along on a trip like this. Good on you, Paul. Andrew. Where's Andrew? Quietly spoken. A man on a mission to raise money. Never missed an opportunity to share info with others in a caring and very real way. Good on you, mate. Graham. Where's Graham? Graham took a ribbing from everyone because he was the only Harley rider. And the thing about that everybody said about Graham was that he took it well, and he never complained, and he never lost his cool about it. We even got a photo of him this morning with a little pink push bike that was this big with Harley Davidson on it, and he was willing to get a photo. So not only was he good-natured about it, but he's always full of fascinating stories. Good on you, mate. John. Where's John? Can you get up? You can do it. John fulfilled a massive life event on a bike that isn't really suited to do a lap of the country, but yet it did. And he did. And he's also quietly mischievous. We got an SMS from this gentleman about 15 minutes prior to the launch in Tamworth. And he said, I'm in Bateman's Bay, whereabouts do we meet? And I wrote back and I said, I really hope you're kidding, John, because you're supposed to be in Tamworth. And he said, oh, I'll do the best I can to catch up. So we get there, I've said it to Sue, I said, oh, what are we going to do? So we get there, and he's there, and he's so excited that he's got me. Because he said, I've waited 2 months to do this. So well done, he's a very mischievous man. Good on you, mate. Well done. Where are we? Adrian. Where's Adrian? Adrian's pillion that's done the whole trip. A wonderful lady with a great sense of humour. She, like Adrian, frequently ran at many of the locations, so she's possibly seen more of the country than most of us. Good on you, Adrian. And Pete. Pete is my morning walking buddy. Pete and I didn't miss many days going for an early morning walk. If you've seen any of the Facebook posts, the pictures, the sunrises were spectacular. And Pete is a new friend, and he must be a good bloke because he rides an FJR Yamaha. So. And Rob, where's Rob? Probably could have done the lap a bit quicker on his supercharged Kawasaki, but managed to stay with us and keep us all company and enthralled with his company. It's been great, mate.
Rob.
Good on you, mate. And his lovely wife, Petra, our group accountant. Petra kept an eye on everybody and kept us all in check and made sure that we paid up if we committed any public faux pas. And we still love you. Nigel. Where's Nigel? He had to leave, did he? Oh, what a shame. Asked you? Yeah, sure. Yeah, Nigel.
Nigel.
No.
Definitely not Nigel. I'll just grab
Good on you. Nigel enthralled us with stories of his racing days, and yet he didn't race around the country. He was never in a hurry, which was nice to see. Roger, where are you? Roger explored everything there was to see wherever we went, and certainly experienced the lap to the maximum. Good on you, mate. Now, was there anybody else that I've missed in our group that's here? We did have others, but they couldn't be here because they've... and Al, that's right, of course, Al. Al was able to relax a little bit more and enjoy the ride without having to be responsible for the riders this time. So I think he's had a much nicer trip this time, and it's been great to have your wisdom and your guidance and your map reading ability along the way. I really have. Thank you very much. And the other support crew? Kurt. Where's Kurt? I wasn't sure whether they were included. Young Kurt. We loved the hat and boots. Everybody did. If every young man had your qualities, our world would be in much better hands. You're a brilliant bloke. Is Sue getting one of these too? Oh, support crew. Sue's always well organised. Oh, we have two. Yes, that's right. That's all right. But Sue can come over. Sue is incredibly well organised, as most of you probably know. Always cheerful. Never see anything in Sue other than cheerful. She's also able to steady the ship when it needed to be. And just one incredible lady, but everybody here knows that already. It's been an honour to spend the time with you, Sue. It really has. Yeah. Okay. All right. And also my lovely wife, Diane, who has come the entire way with me. put up with my dad jokes in the car, and has generally just been the best company and great support for everyone and for me. So thank you, beautiful.
Well, thank you, Paul. That was a nice little summary and snapshot of the ride. And thank you very much to our very special guest, Jade, for helping with the presentation. So thanks to everybody who's turned up here today. Thank you again to our major sponsor, Hyundai, and Hyundai Help for Kids, as well as our host for today, Tynan Hyundai. Thank you, Madeline. Thanks to all our special guests who've taken the time out of their day to come along. And thanks very much to this amazing crew of motorcyclists, fanatics, whatever you want to be called. Absolutely brilliant. An awesome achievement, guys. Yeah, that's all right. Paul forgot one of the most important things you were supposed to do, but that's okay. I even had it written here for him in big bold letters. So I'll invite Pete up. I met Pete only a few days before the ride headed off, and he said, really looking forward to it. Pete was instrumental in Sue actually starting the ride in the first place. He's been pushing for this ride for a couple of years now. Missed the first one in 2010 and I think the second one in 2013, but was very instrumental in the third one. So Pete's got a very important announcement. I'd like to invite Peter Norton. Come on up.
Thank you. And just before, my task is really to announce the amount that was raised on the ride. Just on a personal note, I must admit, when I signed up for the ride, it was largely for selfish reasons. It had been my ambition since I was 20 years old, I'm now 56, to do this trip. As a young Kiwi lad, I was inspired by a couple of New Zealanders that did it over 2 months, although at the time I thought they were crazy to do it so fast. Yeah, little did I know. So really it was about me, I guess, and as time went on, as we got involved in the fundraising, particularly as the journey began, it became about a whole lot more than that. And I would like to thank Sue in particular, because this journey is a more personal one for her probably than for any of us. But Sue allowed us to be part of that personal journey. So it didn't become just a cold, hard thing about raising money. It became something more than that. And somebody who spoke earlier on talked about being part of a family. And in a way, I do feel like, and I think I speak for all of us, that we do feel part of the Stephen Walter Foundation and part of his legacy and part of the future. And I suppose I would like to congratulate everyone for the work that went in terms of raising the money before the event. It isn't hard these days to extract money out of people, especially the kind of target that was set for us. So well done to everybody. I think most people actually exceeded, the target that had been set for them. So the experience for all of us, I think I speak for all of us, has become more than just a motorcycle ride, more than just a fundraising trip, but about something more significant, more worthwhile, and something which I'm confident has a lasting and ongoing impact in people's lives. And I would like to thank Sue and the Foundation for the privilege, really, on behalf of all of us, the privilege of being part of that journey and being part of the Stephen Walter Foundation family. So thank you. And one little thing that's got overlooked because Paul was doing the thank yous is about Paul Riley. And I guess for all of us, we've appreciated Paul as the ride leader because he brought to us skills and experience that gave us confidence. So his paramedic experience, invaluable should we need fixing up. His mechanical experience, invaluable should our bikes need fixing up. And along the way, there was nothing drastic that happened either to body or machine, thankfully, but he was there, always there, and helping us fix up little bits, including my own motorcycle having not a close encounter. We hit a bird and it did some damage to the bike. But also, someone made the comment a couple of nights ago, having a vehicle with Di and Paul in there, always at the back. Tail end, Charlie is not really the best kind of job, especially for a motorcyclist. And in a way, this was a very big sacrifice I felt for him, I really did. I'm riding along there thinking, man, Paul must be as good a vehicle as a Hyundai is. It's not a motorcycle, okay? So a big sacrifice there, and thank you from all of us to you for all that you brought to us, and also the tips that you brought to us in terms of riding. And can I just say a little bit of thing about Di too, because that was a package. And Di's contribution, every trip like this needs someone who has that kind of encouraging, get alongside you at the end of the day role. How's it going? Just quietly. And Di did that beautifully. And particularly for the women in the group, and they were outnumbered 4-1, 5-1 by the blokes, but not only to the women. And that package deal of the Rileys was greatly appreciated by all of us. Okay, enough. So the target fundraising was $100,000, and it's my pleasure to announce that we smashed that by 10% and reached $110,000 from the Around Australia.
Is that why you didn't want him to speak, Paul? Well done, Pete. Thank you very much. So thanks again to all our special guests, to our host for the day. It's people like you that go above and beyond, take that extra step to help us achieve what we do. So thank you for that. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Madeline, for hosting us here today. There's more food there, ladies and gentlemen. Feel free. Massage table's free again. Feel free. Have something to drink. But if you haven't met any of the riders, feel free to jump in and talk to a rider just about the experience and what they achieved out of it. You'll get some nice stories. So thanks again. Really appreciate it and appreciate your support. Thank you.